clay, which we were working on Monday. All right. Not too much. Just so it fits right in your palm. Not too much. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a specific type of bowl. It's called a coil pot or a coil bowl. All right. Tyler, you were talking about that with me.
I've done those before. Those are so much fun.
So we call it a coil pot and a coil bowl because it's made out of coils. And what a coil is, and I'll show you how to make it. So you squeeze the clay a little bit so it kind of looks like a sausage, right?
Sausage. What that look like, a hot dog?
Or a hot dog, but don't eat it, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put it on the canvas, right? We're going to put it on the canvas, right, Dee?
Yes.
All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to use your fingers, the parts of your fingers, just your fingers, not your palms, to roll the clay. All right? So you're making the sausage longer and smoother. All right? And when it is longer and smoother, it becomes a coil. We call it a coil in ceramics. All right? So this takes some practice. Sometimes it gets really lumpy. Like, look, mine's not really so smooth. It's a little lumpy. It's thinner this way than it is this way. So when that happens, what I do is I just pinch it so that it's kind of more round again. And then you'll roll it again. So what you're doing is you're moving your hands around and make sure that all of it is kind of the same width. All right? If you see that at a certain area it's thinner, you just move to the other area that's thicker. All right?
That looks like a worm.
It looks like a worm. Very good.
It's a snake.
Or a snake. We want it really thin and we want it very long. But if it gets too long, you can break it apart to make it more manageable. Sometimes it gets really out of hand because it's so big and long and wormy. So this is a good thickness. All right. It should be thinner than your finger.
It's a good consistency.
Pretty good consistency. Could be a little bit more consistent, but just for the purposes of the class time, I'm going to move on. All right? So a coil bowl is basically made by adding coil after coil after coil, and it builds up in layers. All right, Keon?
Right.
So you add a coil, then you add another coil, then you add another coil, and then it gets like really big. And then before you know it, you have a bowl.
Yeah, look, nice.
Nice.
It's not bad.
But in order to attach it, there's this method that we're going to use called score and slip. And it's really... Yeah? Good. So this might be...
I doing in the Univale.
I'll do that too. That's it.
Alright, guys. I just need your quiet attention. Alright? It's okay.
I'm trying to get my mind off other things.
Okay. We'll talk about that later, though. Alright? So, scoring means to scratch at the clay. Alright? So what I'm doing is I'm scratching at the clay like this, at the edges where I'm going to put the coil. Alright? So that wormy bit. That's the coil. So I'm scratching, and I'll even go over it again, scratching the opposite way. Alright?
And don't poke it, guys. Scratch it.
Yeah, and I'm doing it very lightly too. Just dragging it, alright? So we're just kind of giving it some texture, right? We were talking about texture a couple projects ago. So then I'm going to do the same thing on the coil. So where the coil and your base touch each other, or where they're going to touch each other, that's where you scratch it or score it. It's called slip, all right? And it's kind of like, it's liquid clay, all right? So you're going to, it's a little goopy. And what you do is you put the slip over where you scratched. And you put the slip where you scored on the coil. And then now it's time to attach. Now that you scored it, now that you slipped it, you're going to press it. All right? And I only did this bit. I only did half of the coil, so I have to put more slip on the base, put more slip on the coil. If you don't do this, if you don't score it, if you don't slip it, if you don't do both, what's going to happen is, and then what's the next step? Anyone can tell me? After you score it? Keon.
You scratch it.
After you scratch it, what do you do, Keon?
You put face on your finger.
Yep, you put the slip on your finger, and then,
You wipe it on the scratch it on the clay.
yep, you wipe it on the scratched area, and then you put your next coil on. After scratching the coil. Alright, so I scratch the coil, and then I stick it on, okay?
Okay.